So we bought this abundant piece of land 4 years ago to try to find another way of living. And so far we have been building, regenerating the environment and documenting what we do. And in this video we're gonna see how we cleared an old water basin that we found on the Midland. And we also giving you an introduction to our research we're doing on how to deal with Mimosa stumps. Welcome to a new Project Kamp update.
So about a year ago we discovered this water basin here. We cleaned up a little bit around the edges so we could see it better, but everything got overgrown again and we never really properly saw it. Really a lot of water is flowing here, but nothing is kept because the basin is leaking. So we figured let's properly clean up around here and see what this whole thing is about. And before we do that, I'm gonna have a good inspection with a GoPro. So I can show you what it looks like in the current condition. So here we are in the basin. As you can see, quite a bit of water. Also very muddy in here. And the basin itself looks pretty intact on the edges. This thing, I don't know. I don't know what this is, if it should be fixed or should be all the way. I don't think so, but it's kind of weird ending here. But sometimes they also just build like that here, a bit rough around the edges. So maybe it should be like that. I don't know. If someone has ideas, let me know. And then I guess originally the water level was until here, because over here you see some sort of a pipe, a molten one. I guess with the fire, yeah, this thing just molted down, but probably was the overflow. I don't know where the pipe would go. Maybe somewhere around here. Maybe we'll see later. Also seems like another wall here. Not sure what that does. So yeah, as originally the water would come up here. And then it all comes from that hole right there. And you really see the water flowing here. I'm not sure if you see it on camera. But there's just a constant flow of water coming from that hole, which is the overflow from the well. So the only thing I do wonder if now it's not underwater, but if the water level would rise until the edge, I guess then this would be underwater. I don't know if that's a problem. And yeah, I'm also curious. What, is this a tunnel? Did someone make this? Is it natural? Not sure if we're gonna find out. Maybe put this GoPro on a long stick with a light to see. And here is one little rose. The only rose really around here. But yeah, we would clean this up a bit as well. And here you see a lot of mint growing, which means it's just very wet, because all this water is just constantly flowing out here all winter. Very muddy. So I guess if we fix this one up, the water can fill up here, and we might have some water for summer as well. And now it's all muddy and dirty, also because years of vegetation falling in there. So the plan is to clean up around here to see what is all here. Maybe we find more walls. To clean up the inside, take all the mud out. Maybe we need to fix the holes where it's leaking. And just see, I guess, what is all in here. Because it's an interesting thing. So first step, we're gonna chop some spiky bushes. Really a lot of water in this area, and on the one hand you can just see it, like really deep puddles here. But also all the mimosas you see around, they are all the same age because it burned down and they started growing at the same time. And this is one of the thickest one, maybe the thickest I've seen so far on the land. So it means this guy has really good conditions, sun and a lot of water from that reservoir. So it's kind of a cool way to measure where the water is. So next we're gonna clean some of those mimosa trees that are around there, because they slowly start to break the wall. All these roots here, they grow really fast and this wall starts to have some cracks. So we're gonna clean it up. Also that less of this stuff is gonna fall in here. So time for some chainsaw. So it's a nice sunny day, so I figured I'll just go in there barefoot, so it's a good cool down. However, I just saw a snake going in there, and maybe we need some rubber boots. So maybe we see the snake. So we got a bucket, a hoe, and I don't know, I never cleaned something like this. So we'll just start and see. Good that the snake made me turn on some boots, because I found this metal thing. So I've been emptying the water with a bucket. Then I realized I just found a pipe. So maybe there's a hole so it can empty itself. And while I was thinking that, I also found an extra hole here in the middle actually, here. That goes to the outside, but the outside is fully covered. So maybe I'll clean it out first here, because then I don't have to scoop out the water, but it just goes by gravity. So now it's flowing by itself. So at the moment the basin doesn't hold any water, because on the one hand there is a pipe here which we just opened up, but there are also cracks here under the wall which makes the water flow there. And I'm not sure where they go or how big they are. It's a bit hard to see because there's water in here as well. And here there is this gutter which looks man-made but is all dirty and full of soil. Someone also put a pile there. So we're gonna move this, flatten this up a bit and see what is all here in this line. Because the thing is leaking, there's a lot of water here, so it's quite muddy. But it should be okay now. Well, not that it's fixed, but it's leveled. And let me show you actually what is there. Found some pipes. So over here we found this pipe before. Goes out here, which was originally a pipe here, but it's burnt and molten, like a very molten pipe. But I guess it went in this basin here, which probably, I think, for animals or something to drink. It's also a bit wider here, maybe that a bucket fits to take water, not sure. But then the pipe continues here, goes underground, no idea where it's going. I'm not sure if I'm ready for another pipe saga, but yes, another underground pipe going somewhere. And a cool water reservoir. But yeah, at some point we need to fix this leak, because then this can fill up a bit more, but not sure. Maybe wait for summer when it's dry and then we can fix it. So I think that's it for today. A lot of mud went out, but there's still a lot of water inside, and I think there's still a lot of mud underneath. I don't know how deep we should go, if at some point you hit concrete or I don't know. But I'm hoping that if we let it run for a while, that tomorrow morning maybe it's a bit more empty. So it's really hard to clean here, because the water is constantly flowing, so it stays wet coming from this source. So I figured let's build a little wall there to see how high the water actually gets. Maybe we can block it, and then we can clean this thing up properly without all the water. So I guess that's kind of it. This tiny wall prevents the whole thing from flowing. So now no water should come here. So we let it like this now for a bit until all the water here is out because of blockage, and then hopefully we can clean it a bit better and also have a proper look at the edges here to fix. So here we are a few weeks later after some waiting. As you can see, the grass already got a bit greener here on top of all the mud. The bush is starting to grow back, don't like that. All the wood we threw here that we took out is really starting to overgrow my grass. And the basin itself, still full of water. Yep, this just continued to run and flow. Actually did add a wooden board here for the fun of it. And the water level really goes up, which is quite cool. Takes a while, but maybe if this would even be higher, it would really go up all the way, which I did not expect. Look, there's also an animal in there. So he has a house now. So in order to properly finish this up, I guess I have to wait a bit longer until the water stops flowing. Maybe in summer, when the water table really goes down and it gets much more dry. I don't know. I'm just gonna wait, and when time comes, I'll give you guys an update to properly clean it, fix it, maybe some stairs on the side, but that's for later.
Okay, as you see, the water didn't stop flowing and the water is actually building quite a bit up. So we have now a green layer covering it, which looks quite nice. But in the end we still want to empty it and to repair the basin itself. And how to go about it? We don't know yet. But we will keep you updated. But I also have something else to show you, and it's on the other side of base camp, so Come with me. Okay, and about this, Alana knows more, so stay with her.
Here in Project Kamp, we've been cutting down a lot of mimosa. We've been trying to make the space more fire safe and more accessible. This year we've been working in base camp, and so far we've cut down a lot of mimosa. So far has been just to cut them as close to the ground as possible. As you can see, they've already started resprouting. These are from just about a month and a half ago. And this means that then we have to go and take all of the resprouts off. But that's just not practical with the amount of stumps that we have. They're also a trip hazard, and vans can't drive over them very easily. So it's best if we can find a way to get rid of them. Last year we called in a digger to remove the stumps. That worked really well because we wanted to remove all of the stumps. However, we can't get the digger into all of the other spaces around Project Kamp. And it's also quite aggressive for the soil. So what we want to test out now is different ways that we can kill mimosa stumps that doesn't require picking off all the resprouts by hand and that is less aggressive for the soil than using the digger. We've done some research and we looked on the research module and we found 5 different methods of stopping stumps from resprouting that we want to try out. The 5 methods are using Epsom salts and not covering the stump, using Epsom salts and covering the stump with a tarp, only covering the stump with a tarp, using wood chips as mulch over the stump, and using wool as mulch over the stump. Because in this area, wool is a really big waste product, so if we can use wool and it works, that would be good. We're going to do that in 2 different ways. The first way is on clusters of mimosa, which we're going to do right here by the big cork oak. And the second is on larger stumps, and we're going to do that in the wider Project Kamp area because we didn't have one single space with big stumps. First step is going to be to cut it down to the ground as low as possible with a chainsaw. So I'm going to need some trousers. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to start with the treatment. This treatment is Epsom salt. The idea behind using Epsom salts is that Epsom salts are made of magnesium and sulfur, and a little bit is very good for soil, but if you put too much then it will start to rot the roots of plants. So the idea here is that we're going to overdose the plant on Epsom salts and they won't be able to have new shoots. That's the idea. We chose to use Epsom salts because this is quite natural, so we're hoping that this will not damage the ecosystem, but we're not sure. And then apart from that, we need a drill, some drill bits of different sizes, a cutter for the tarp, and the tarp. And this you might recognize from the blue tent that they did in season 2 and the chairs that they covered in season 2 as well. Let's begin. This one's done. It's time to move on to Epsom salt without a cover. For the Epsom salt without a cover method, we're going to do the same process as before. We're just going to make sure there's not a cover on top. Last thing we need to do here is just put 4 stakes in the 4 corners and then wrap some twine around it so that we can remember where it is later on. And the reason we're doing that is because when we were doing research, we found that both with a cover and without a cover were recommended. So we thought we would just give it a try and see which one works. And now let's move on to the next method. Okay, this one's done. Time to move on to wood chips. This one we're going to be covering with wood chips. First we're going to build a little structure around it to try and keep the wood chips in, and then wood chips on top. And for this one we need some nice thick logs, some smaller stakes to secure the thick logs in place, and lots of wood chips. Nearly finished, just the wool left. Boom! We chose to use wool as well because when we were doing research, we found that wool is sometimes used as a mulch in the same way that wood chips can be. So we thought we would see if it works on mimosa stumps as well. We just saw our neighbour's arrived, and he has some sheep's wool from the sheep he sheared a couple days ago, so we're going to go and collect it.
Esses são todos galhões de 4 euros.
Sim.
É pouco, não?
Ah, não, tem muita coisa aí.
Sim. Mas eu pensava que era mais.
Não.
Oh, é um pequeno.
Sim.
Novo.
Sim.
Oh!
Tem 3 dias.
Oh, que pequeno. Got a little baby,
Sim.
3 days old.
Sim.
Eu queria perguntar, por que lo tiras? Por que não lo usas? Não há usado?
Hoje, antigamente toda a gente comprava isto, passa agora ninguém quer.
Quer.
Antes isto era tudo vendido.
Sim?
Sim.
Quanto a esta pequena
Ah, não
quantidade?
sei.
Não sabes?
Passa mesmo.
Ah, já foi em tempo, não?
Sim, outro tempo.
Ok. O que faz
Então
normalmente?
antigamente era para fazer roupa,
Sim.
camisola.
Sim.
E,
Tá bem?
e agora tu, o que fazes normalmente?
Agora se está bem.
A la tierra?
Pois se bota fora.
Sim.
Nós queremos para experimentar um pouco. Mas não lo usas para plantas ou coisas assim?
Não,
Não?
não.
E também disse que está boa para a terra, então vamos a experimentar.
Não, para a terra não sei se é bom. Não.
Experimentamos, te contamos depois.
Para las mimosas.
Os mimosas para
Sí.
quê?
Para matarlas.
Matar al tronco.
Isso é bueno.
Dice,
A ver,
experimentamos.
Experimentar é bueno, então hay que experimentar.
Depois te contamos e depois vais a
Sim.
ter muitas ovelhas.
Sem experimentar não nada se pode fazer.
Não,
sí, exactamente.
Bem, obrigada, senhor.
Bah.
It's so cool. Look at it.
Porque Ben,
¿Vas a plantar patatas?
Não, isto é para as ovelhas.
Ah.
only once a year, like around this time. Normally a bit earlier, but the guy was not able to shave.
For the wool, we're going to do the same method as the wood chips with the big logs and the stakes. And then we're going to pile a lot of wool on top and secure it with some twine.
Too much.
We're doing that so that if there's a big storm or a day with lots of wind, the wool doesn't get blown away. So that's the wool secure. Now we've now finished all of the clusters and we're going to move on to doing the big individual stumps, and we're going to start with some by the ruins. With these large stumps, we started by using a drill, but we found that it was way too labour intensive and the drills kept overheating. So we decided in the end to go with another method that we saw online, which is using a chainsaw to cut grooves into the stumps. Okay, we've prepared the stump, the Epsom salt with a cover stump. Now we're just going to put some water, the Epsom salts themselves, and the tarp, and let it be. So that's the end of the Epsom salt with a cover. Just one more Epsom salt treatment to go without a cover, and we'll be done. We chose to do an only tarp method as well because it's a pretty simple method to do for us. Okay, so that's the end of the tarp stump. Yeah, now it's time to move on to wood chip and wool, which is going to be down in the middle end. Right, so that's this wood chip one ready. The last one we have to do is the wool, right over there. That's it, the wool's also finished, which is the last of all the treatments. So now we're just gonna leave all of them for about a year and we'll check up on them every month to see how they're doing. And yeah, that's it. Stay tuned. It's been quite a few weeks now and we're just going to check on this stump and see how it's going. Okay, so this is Epsom salt with a cover, and I would say it's looking pretty good for now. It's still got some salt on it, quite a lot of salt, and I can see that around the edges and just on these chunks here, it's got some mold, so that's looking good. And if you want to see what all of the others look like, then you should check out our research module where there's going to be an update posted on how they're doing 1 month after the start. So yeah, there you go.
That was it for this update. If you want to see the next one without ads in 4K, support us on Patreon. If not, subscribe and see you in the next update.